Ellarigu Namaskara. An Indian author in Kannada language known for his short stories and personal essays. Vasudhendra is an engineer from NIT who went on to do his masters in Indian Institute of Science. He has been a software professional for over 2 decades until he decided to take a sharp turn to fully move into the literary field. Vasudhendra is right here with us today in person to have this chat with us, share his journey, tell his story, spill his secrets of, what brought him till this stage. Thank you, Vasudhendra. We welcome you. We welcome all of you who have taken your time out and come here on a Friday evening. You should give yourselves a huge round of applause for doing this on a Friday evening. And this is the kind of love we want to see for books and reading and writing, right, Vasudhendra? Okay. So, and we are also live on Book Brahma social channels. So, Ellarigu Swagata, welcome everyone who's watching us online. Let's jump straight in, Vasudhendra. How does it feel to be a bestseller author? A small town boy and Karnataka state, Kannada speaking, software engineer, and today you are one of the best-selling authors in the country. So please tell us how it feels to be here.
Good evening, everyone. Namaskara, ellargu. Frankly, I don't believe in best-selling author or any of those things. For me, readers are important. So when I'm writing some story, I would expect more readers for me. That's very important for me. If there are no readers, maybe I'll stop writing. Yeah, so that's the time I may have to stop writing, isn't it? So, as we said, like in traditional Indian folklore, they always say God has given one mouth but 2 ears. Means if one storyteller is there, 2 listener has to be there. Okay, so listening is very, very important actually. So till people are listening, now it's readers, that's all, it's been changed to readers. Till readers are reading, you get a comfort that you are walking in the proper tread. Okay, so that gives me a very nice feeling. Yeah, that gives me a very nice feeling. I know there are writers who write equally well. So like me, so they write equally well. For some reasons, readers' choices will be different. They choose some, they may not choose the others. But still, writing is writing. Readers are very important for me. From the beginning I have said, I need more readers. I'm happy that it's going to English word as well now. So I hope more and more English readers will like this work actually. So, and I'll get better readership. Yeah, I'm very looking forward for that. I'm very happy.
We are all a little curious to know your journey. You were getting a very fat paycheck and over 2 decades of service in the IT industry, a software engineer. You built your own website and you have been maintaining it also pretty well. So, and then, you are writing books and reading books. I was just having this chat with Vasudhendra before this, and he was telling me that more than 3 years of research has gone into writing this book. So tell us about that journey.
So you'd like to know more on the this book journey? Or, okay. Frankly, it started with my previous book. I wrote Mohanaswamy. Mohanaswamy, as many of you know, it's about a story about a homosexual, Indian homosexual. It was kind of autobiographical for me. After I wrote that book, almost everywhere people started inviting me as a LGBT person. Like I was branded. It got translated to English also. And English readers know only that book, no other book, right? So they started almost like bracketing me inside as a LGBT person. So they don't even invite me for literature discussion. So they call me only for the LGBT rights discussion and all. I'm proud of that. So I'm very proud of talking about those subjects as well. But I'm much bigger than that. So I thought, like, what do I do like now? So I wanted to come out of that image. I said, if I can write a story where I am not there, my presence is not there, that will change the perspective, right? So then I said, when I am not there, so because the contemporary, if I write, I'm always there. So with the contemporary views, contemporary issues, I'll come into presence. So let me go 500 years back. So 500 years go, if I go back and look at the Vijayanagara history, I might get a good story, because there's stories based on the history were pretty getting popular, and readers were enjoying the historical fiction. But there was a fear for me. I'm a software engineer. And I was very poor in history in the school days, and of course college days. We have never read history and no other knowledge of the history. I was very poor in history, I should say. Then I said, whether I can write really, or so let me try. So nothing wrong in trying, right? So then I started reading all the connected books. So there were a lot, like, so started with Kannada books, and then I went to English books. And while reading, it was fascinating that I started liking the Portuguese part. Like their visit to India, Vasco da Gama especially, the troubles they have taken to come to India. That time, you believe it or not, we call it as globalization now, but a real globalization was in the 15th century only. So every corner of the world, people were working in India. Whether you call it from Persia, Arab, or China, or from Africa, South Africa, or the Europe, everyone wants to work in India. That was the period, actually. So I was very fascinated looking at their journey. So then I said, during that time, actually, Manu Pillai wrote a historical book called Ivory Throne. So that was more on the Travancore and all the Kerala side. So there's a lot of details about the Portuguese and their spice trade and Vasco da Gama visit and his crimes. Actually, he's a criminal almost, like so that kind of a person he is. Though he is a courageous man, he did a great thing and he is in the history. But still, what all the crimes he has done is very unforgivable. That kind of a crimes he has done. So then I thought, okay, let me get into the social life. So writing this is different, but writing social life is very different, because I am not going to write about kings and queens or the ministers. No, not of that. So my story is going to be about common man only. I am not going to touch about these kings and queens and also. I was very clear about that. So I said, let me understand the social history. I never gone to Lisbon. I never gone to Portuguese. Though I have worked in UK. For UK and Denmark, I worked for many years there. So, but I felt, no, I should study that. I started studying there. And it's very nice, actually. The Portuguese history is so well documented. I found it's very easy to write the Portuguese part of the story compared to Vijayanagara part of the story. Though it is, I stay hardly, my native place is hardly 10 to 12 kilometers from Hampi. So it's not far. So we have seen Hampi from so many years, like from childhood onwards, we are seeing for whether it's an education tour, it's Hampi, or if someone dies in the family or remote family, so you have to go for a 13-day ceremony in Hampi only. So that much we are attached to Hampi. So I had naturally had an inclination towards the Vijayanagara history. So those are all the things that happened. It became so much that I started reading, and I did not know when to stop. This is a challenge, actually. So when you are preparing, you keep on reading and you get into so depth that you don't know when to stop reading the books. Then I went to a senior critic in Kannada and I told me, I don't know when to stop this. He said, no, you are a fiction writer. You are not a historian. So if you have read for 3 years, it's more than enough, actually. So I had got involved so much in the history that I was looking everything from that perspective only, that period perspective only. Like, if you are constructing a house, wherever you go, you see only the house, right? Houses, right? Or the interior decorations, everything you start seeing it, right? For me, it was Vijayanagara. Wherever I go, I see Vijayanagara. Oh, Vijayanagara have done this construction, so it is from them. It is from them. So that kind of. In fact, I went to Raichur. Raichur, my friend has purchased a 30-40 site, and he was very proud. He has paid so many lakhs, and he has purchased that site. And he told me, I paid some 3 lakhs or so, and I purchased this 30-40 site. I said, see, once upon a time this was Krishnadevaraya's property, and now you have got it. And he got so angry. You stop reading Vijayanagara period is what he told me. So that kind of a involvement was there. That helped actually. So when I started writing the book, I didn't struggle at all. It was very smooth flow. Okay, so every day 2000 words. I had made a decision, like every day 2000 words I'm going to write. I kept on writing 2000 words, never stopped. So that helped me. So much of steady help, but only fear I had is, will I make it as make a document? If I read so much, this novel gets turned into a document. I was very careful about it, between documentation and storytelling. So that difference I was very clear. Luckily it didn't. It didn't happen like that. Maybe readers should tell. So it became a story. I'm so happy actually. So now so much of demand. People are asking me to write the second part of it or a series of it and all. Maybe I'll write one more historical novel, but may not be the second part of this.
That's fantastic, Vasudhendra. It's quite overwhelming to know what you must have gone through in this entire process. For those of you who don't know, the book that we are talking about is called Tejo Tungabhadra. Tejo is a Portuguese river, and Tungabhadra is, of course, we all know, it's an Indian river. And now, you know that this is the 12th edition of the book. He wrote it in Kannada, then now it is also available in English. So we actually urge you all to go and read about this. It's quite rich in its content, and it's beautifully, beautifully written. And it has won the Karnataka Sahitya Academy Award in 2019. It is like, you know, Vasudhendra said, set around the Vijayanagara era, but we don't get to read, or we don't get to, you know about the kings and queens and royalties and their battles and their wars. It's about common people, common lifestyle, and everything that happened around that era in the community. The book is all about that. We're going to speak more on that, but before that I need to ask you, Vasudhendra, how was the editing process? Now you told us you were writing and never stopped. And who did the chopping for you? And how were you feeling when the chopping was happening?
So in Kannada, I'm the publisher. So see, I'm doing I have a publishing house called Chanda Pustaka from past 20 years. I'm running a publishing house, and it's well received. Okay, so all our books are well sold in the market. So I am the editor. Every book I publish in from Chanda Pustaka, I am the editor. So while writing itself, I was editing my book itself. So there was no question of anyone editing that further. So I just wrote it in one go, I think. In the second round, hardly I would have changed some 8 to 10 lines. So the entire work is of the first round only. So I haven't changed anything after I wrote. So, but people scared me, saying that in Kannada nobody will buy such big book because it's a 460 pages novel. English also it's come to 460 only. They said no, people won't buy this expensive book. But now the things are different. So they're asking, you should have extended the story. You finished it very fast. So you should have wrote another 100 pages more. Then it would have been justice to the book. So that's the feedback I'm receiving actually.
That's very smart, I must say.
But English editing was there. In English, they went for the editing. They asked me to change some of the things depending upon the English readership and their kind of words used and all. But luckily, I had a very good translator. Maitreyi Karnur is excellent in her English. So she did a good job, brilliant job. But still, editing, they do the thorough editing in Penguin. So that happened, but I'm not so good at English, so my English is very weak. So I said it's not my field, so why should I have to get into it? Only if they are damaging the story, I'll chip in. Okay, if any changes they ask, I'll do the changes in Kannada and give it to them. Okay, and she will translate it and add it to that. That's the process which I use. I read once or twice, that's all. Reading my own book is a painful thing actually. So I can't, even for the editing, like how you just get bored. Like at the same time I can read some other book. That feeling comes, so you don't feel like reading your own books multiple times. But English, they went through the editing process.
I must say at this point, Maitreyi was the translator from Kannada to English. She was supposed to be here with us today talking to all of us, but she could not make it. And I was saying, Vasudhendra, very smart, and there's like a hidden tip in what you said. If you want to write a book, open a publishing house for yourself first.
Because I've opened the publishing house, some lucky things happened, I could publish Mohanaswamy. If in Kannada, if I had approached any publisher with such kind of explicit details about the gay life, I'm sure no one would have come forward to publish that book. Because I was the publisher, it was much easier for me to go with that book, So in English, it's already matured, readership was there, so they were happy to publish. In Kannada, you should see, after the book has come, none of the newspapers even wrote a single line about that book because they were scared. So, but luckily social media was there. Social media presence was there. Everyone opened up in social media. So after it came in English, then they realized that it's an important book. Then all the media started coming to me. Okay. But because my publication, there are some advantages as well.
That's fantastic. Now let's, talk about the extremely complex love angles that you have portrayed in this story. There's a mix of characters from across borders, race, religions, caste, and even relationships. It's quite complex. If you go and read, you'll know what I'm talking about. What do we bring out from these complexities? What are you trying to say?
See, according to me, this earth is created borderless. God never had an idea of creating an atlas. Only we human beings created the atlas and made the border, saying that you cannot go to Pakistan, you cannot go to this China. So that kind of things which we have done. So visa, all that. But there's nothing of that sort when it is created. So now, even if you make the border, what can cross this border is love. Okay, both India and Pakistan can fight a lot, but a boy in Pakistan likes a girl in India, they will be ready to cross any borders. So the power of love is that. So when there is so much of travel is happening across the globe during that period, and so many people are coming to India and Indians are going world over, then I thought the love has to be there. Someone coming from there and falling in love here, or person going from here there and falling in love, all these complexities would have happened. Because during that time, once you travel to India means, it's not the next day I fly back to the country. You will stay here for 5 years, 10 years, like that. And whether you go back or not is also a questionable thing. Okay, that kind of a difficult transportations during the only transporting vehicle was ship. Ship was the fastest. If there is no ship means you have to take horse. Horse is but ship is considered as you have to remember that ship is considered as just like jet flights what we have today. It was like that during that period. They were very proud of their ships. Entire Europe was very, very proud of the ships. So they used to take it as like a credit, like we have developed ships kind of a thing. So always you see so much of writing about ships are there. So that was the modern equipment for them. Okay, so they used to travel using the ships, and of course ships without any power. They never invented the power yet. During the 14th, 15th century, there was no power. So only using the wind. So they were traveling something like total distance covered by Vasco da Gama is 24,000 miles in his trip. imagine traveling 24,000 miles without power, only depending on the wind power. You see the kind of engineering, or engineering the courage. So they have taken the challenges they have taken is mind blowing actually. So they had done. So I thought love has to be there. Wherever the people are moving around, they're traveling to another country, means the cross country love is going to come. So I came up with the story.